Hello, friends. How are you today? This is Paula, and I say that like you don't know that. And I think we need to work on some of our December daily cards. And I'm going to see what day we left off on. We left off on day 10. So today is the 13th. So we need to do 3 days. But I am going to do some extra ones today because we're going to emboss. We're going to do some embossing. And so I want us to not have to get the mess out 2 or 3 different times. Okay? So first of all, I thought we could do a Santa. Now, he's pretty big, but he is going to fit on here. And I'm hoping that we can get the reindeer to fit on here as well. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is, I'm trying to decide, I think we're going to emboss him in white. Okay, and then, we'll come back and emboss the reindeer in white as well. And then we will, I'm going to get my powder out. You always want to use powder on, whoops, boy, I just got lucky right then because I just opened that. That's a reason you don't open this any sooner than you need to. I could have spilt that everywhere. That would have been a nice mess. Okay, so you want to always take your powder, and there's just put baby powder if you don't have one of these, and just kind of rub over, because this time of year the static electricity is a little bit on the crazy side. So you take your Versamark stamp pad, and I'm sure most of you have done. I've had this forever, so excuse the ugly, dirty looking thing. We're going to stamp Santa. We want to get him nice and sticky. The VersaFine is basically just, I don't know exactly what it's made out of, but it just makes Santa nice and sticky so that the embossing powder, excuse me, can attach to Santa. So I'm trying to get him straight. Now his little feet will probably not be completely done, but we'll see. Yeah, how cute. Now let's see. I'm looking here thinking, why is he not, he's not going to show up at this point. But I'm getting the embossing powder on him. I'm going to pour it back down. And then we'll clean up this little bit right here once we do the reindeer. Now, I'm going to push some of this stuff back out of our way so I can make sure you can see what's going on. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to emboss the reindeer, but I'm going to first wipe off my little Santa because that's sticky. I don't want to leave on there. Okay, we'll let him dry, and we're going to get out Rudolph. This is a really cute stamp set. I have a lot of stamps, okay, because I used to make cards a lot. And so, and I would get my stamps mostly at Simon Says Stamps. So if you see anything you like, that's probably where I got it. I would say probably 90-something% chance that that's where I got it. Okay, now this little reindeer, he is so cute. He is Adorable. Now, we're going to carefully not mess up our Santa Claus, okay? And we're going to put the reindeer right here next to Santa, who just happens to be the same size as Santa. Not really. He shouldn't be. But he is in this image. Okay. Now, I'm going to put some of this white embossing powder on him. And you probably are thinking, why are you doing white? Well, you're going to find out. Okay. Now, I'm going to clean this up, and then we're going to heat set our embossing powder. Just don't want it everywhere. Want to get the lid back on it, because when you start swinging that heat gun around, it's not cool. Now, we'll heat each card one at a time. We're going to make all the cards, and then we're going to come back and do the next step. You always want to heat your gun up until you feel it gets hot when you emboss. You don't want to take it straight to your card, because it will actually cause your card to kind of warp. You want to get the gun good and hot so that it doesn't take as long. So, you just move it back and forth. Don't hold it in any one position. And see, if you start out with it hot, then it doesn't take as long. And if you look, it's hard to see with the white. No, I'm sorry about that. But there is a method to my madness. And see, whenever you're done, let me look here. Whenever you're done, I'll hold this up, or whenever I'm done, I'll hold this up where you can see. Now, it's wet, so give it a few minutes to dry. It doesn't take a long time. But see, can you see the white there? Now, I'm going to set this down, and we're going to do the, I'm going to wipe off our reindeer here real quick. And we're going to do the next one, which is going to be angels. So we're going to do some angels. And this time we're going to do them in a color, okay? So we'll come back to the white embossing powder. Now we're going to do the angels. Let's do them in gold, okay? And I've got them all nice and ready. Now, we want to be sure and use our powder on our surface. Move this up so you guys can see better. Okay, now, got our embossing, our VersaFine embossing ink here. Now, one of our little angels has his eyes closed, and one of them has it opened. And I bought them both because I just couldn't stand the thought of not getting the other one. They were so cute. Sometimes it's hard to see if your image is there, but we're fixing to put the gold on. And we should be able to see really well where the angel is. Isn't she precious? Now we're going to do the other angel on the right side. These cards, these particular cards are not going to have a lot of dimension, okay? This is a new ink pad here, so I'm going, this is a new stamp, so I'm going to rub it on my arms. I haven't used this one, I guess. All right, and so down we go. You want to be careful because your other image is over here next to you, and you don't want it to get all messed up. A lot of people do not heat set until after they've done their whole image or whole design. And sometimes I do it both ways. So, you know, I'm not too picky. Now, while it's still wet, okay, you can see I've got a few little things here that I don't want on my page. So I'm just going to take them, kind of hit it. Now, normally I would do this with a dry brush, but I forgot to put one out, quite honestly. Okay, now, I was going to look and see if I had a star somewhere, but I don't. On any of these little stamps. I thought it'd be cute with a little star in the center, but we could actually put a dimensional one there if we wanted to. Now, first of all, we're going to pour out the embossing powder back into our container. And set that aside. Heat our gun. Sadie? No. So I got to tell you what Sadie did in just a second. So make sure you get this hot again. It shouldn't take as long the second time because, you know, we've already done it once. We'll get all of our embossing done, and then I'll tell you what Sadie did. You want to be careful when you're embossing, not to burn yourself. Okay, let me hold this up. Okay, now that's number 2. We're going to set it to the side. We're going to wipe off our angels. Got the sticky off. Now we've done 3, excuse me, we've done 3 cards, okay, or 2 cards. And so we don't want too many done with embossing powder. So I think I was going to do a 3rd one with this cute little Santa. But we can always go back and do that sometime if we decide we want to. Okay, so we have plenty. We've got plenty of our little guys all done up here. So I'm going to set this to the side. We're going to have stuff everywhere. Now, the next thing I want us to do is bring out our little Santa. Now, I hope I'm prepared for this. I've got to grab my watercolor. And where are my water brushes? Okay, let me grab my water brushes. Hold on. I'm sure they just got put back where they were. That is weird. Hold on. Oh, they're in this container with my other little watercolor pens. These are the ones we used the other day. And this is the name of them. They're really awesome. They're basically like a watercolor in a pen. Okay, now, let me get out a towel right here. Okay, so what I want to do with this little Santa dude is I want to just color them, okay? So we're going to start out with a medium size water brush. Now, you don't have to use water brushes. If you want, you can use just a marker or whatever. But with this technique, if you see, remember it's got white on the background. With this technique, the white embossing is going to keep your color inside the Santa. Now, yes, you can come out of that area as well, but you want to be careful not to do that because that's not what our goal is, okay? Now, I haven't done this in a long time, so let's see what I can accomplish here without, I really should add more water, probably. But you got to remember, too, this. So I'm staying inside the lines just as if I'm coloring, okay? Now, that is what you want to do. And I just did mess up. Let me show you what I did. I went out of the line. But I'm going to take this other water brush. I'm going to show you where I went out of the line. See right here? It's hard to see, so you have to really, let me see if I can get it to go away a little bit. Probably not. It's supposed to be our, the portion of Santa that's white, of course. So we'll go back in there and add something white to make up for that. Don't ask me what, because I don't know. Don't ask me, I don't know. I'm just the one painting it and trying to teach it. Okay, so I'm going to continue with the red. You have to just watch where all your different parts come together. It's kind of tedious because everything is tiny. Now, when you look at this, it doesn't look like watercolor because I've got it on here pretty strong. And when I say strong, I mean like I don't have it as watered down because I kind of like the dark red. I'm going to go over this a little bit. Probably what I'll do to cover are the white that I messed up on is I may add some glitter to that later. Okay, so we got to do Santa's arms. Red. I might move you guys in. I just happen to think that you might be able to see better. Let me jump up and see if I can. Yeah, you're way far out. Way far out. And I'm all the way to the right for some reason. I don't know why it's like that. But I'm going to move over so you guys can see better. Okay, so I usually, when I'm doing something tiny like this, I will just kind of turn my image around rather than trying to get my brush to maneuver itself around. I hope that makes sense. Somebody is being very feisty, and I think you know who I'm talking about. She is not happy because I was up through the night and I didn't sleep well. So my husband put her in the crate this morning so that I could go back to sleep. And we haven't been out of bed very long, but she was sick of the crate and not happy with me for putting her in there. Okay, now when you deal with red, red is just a difficult color to not make mistakes with. I'll just tell you up front. And I haven't, I'm going to do his little pant leg right here too while I'm here. His left foot, as you can see, is in the hole. But he will be cute. If we can get the white to look good, we'll see what happens. Okay, so if you notice, I haven't added any of the pigment, which is the watercolor, in a while, because it does spread for quite a while. I'm going to hold that up a little bit. I need to kind of tilt it so I can see, because I don't see tiny stuff very well, even with my glasses sometimes. So I'm going to go back right there and straighten that up. And I'm going to do that to the little pant leg, which is teeny tiny. Okay. I'm not doing any kind of shading or anything on this. I just am doing, you know, just doing the red portions. Now we're going to do his hat. He will start coming to life a little bit as we go along here. The reason I like to do this, because the embossing adds just a little bit of shine, and instead of outlining it, that's what the embossing does. It's really cute to do it that way. Get my brush to bring some water down for me. Okay, that's better. I thought if we just did a plain stamp, it wouldn't be as fun. It might be a little boring looking when we're done, but I think this will look better. Okay, wow, that was tedious. So we're going to go ahead and jump over here to Santa's reindeer and do his scarf and his nose, because he's going to be Rudolph, whether he wants to be or not. He just has a regular shaped nose, but that's okay. Hope you guys are having a good day. What I was going to tell you is, you know, I've told you before that I've been letting the dog have some freedom. You know, like I've been letting her run free while I'm in my scrap room. And she'll come in here every now and then. But mostly she'll stay in there. She'll either lay in her crate or she'll look out the back window and watch the ducks and everything on the pond and the animals. Or not animals, not like farm animals, but just, you know, that made no sense, I know. Okay, so you can see there that we have that portion done. Now, I did not bring any water, so I'm going to wash out my brush the best I can here by squeezing out. And I'm going to add a little bit of pink to, I want to put pink on Santa's. Let me make sure I got the right color here. Oh, Paula, where'd it go? Got to find something here to let me know. Yeah, I did. So let's take the pink and do Santa's little nose. It still looks red, doesn't it? But it really is red, pink. I may have had some pink left in my, or red left in my brush. I'm sure that's what it was. So we'll skip over to a different brush. Now, everything else on Santa except his belt is black. So we're going to go over and we're going to do black now. Now, black is a serious color, right? And I just try not to get too much on my brush, and I use a tiny brush. Okay, so, and this is for his belt, gloves, and boots. Yeah, I don't have it on there strong enough. It's pretty watered down. Oh, I did this. This is his belt. You know, earlier I said it was supposed to be white. I was wrong, so that's a good way to cover it up, right? Because this is his belt. This is tiny little sections. So you might, if you've never watercolored or done anything this small, just practice. There's the old belt. His buckle is hidden behind his scarf. So we're going to do his scarf green in a minute. But we want to get all of our black done first. This is not watercolor paper. So that does make a difference on how you're, if you were trying to blend and stuff like that, it would make a difference. But since we're not, we don't have to worry about that. I got one little tiny spot right there. Man, it's just really hard not to get outlines. You have to be super good at this, and I don't do it often enough to be good at it. I like doing it. There's the end of the foot right there. Now, we got to do his gloves. And then we'll go to the reindeer and see what's black on him. What the embossing powder does with this technique is it kind of serves as like a pawn. You know, like a fence that doesn't allow anything to get out. Now, mind you, it can still get out, because you still are stronger than this pen and anything else. So you still have to concentrate on staying in lines, is basically what I'm telling you. Now we're going to do this glove over here. And if you notice right here, it's real clear that there's embossing powder because it's not going out of the lines over onto the belt. It's staying right here where it belongs. Now, there's our black. Now, if we decide we want to go back and add some more, we can. But I do want to warn you that if you just keep going back and keep going back, the paper will separate. When I say separate, I mean like it will peel, okay? And so we want to be careful about that. So now we're going to do a green for Santa's scarf. Let's do his green scarf before we go on and do anything else. I'm thinking we're going to have to figure out how to water down some pink and make it like a flash color to do another color for his face and beard and so forth. I probably will still put white on his beard. Only we'll do it with watercolor. But believe it or not, it will look different doing that. Even though it's white on white, you'll be able to tell a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn this around a little bit. Get this little section up here. I moved my paper rather than trying to move my brush to tiny little areas. I am by no means a professional when it comes to watercolor, just FYI. But I like, oops, I went over into the red a little bit right there. Crud. Crud. You're going along doing really good, and then all of a sudden. So when you use a Kleenex like I just did and go down and dab off something, it's still showing there. You want to be sure you dab straight down and straight up. Does that make sense? Because it will smear if you don't. Now, rather than put stripes on or polka dots or flowers or plaid or whatever on Santa's scarf, we'll go back and do something different than using watercolors. Okay, so let's go over here to our reindeer. And we're going to use some green on him too, on this, I don't know what you call it, on the back of his back. It's like I guess it's supposed to represent a, what do you call it? I don't remember. Let me get some water down in here. We're working with pretty strong water right here. These are my favorite water brushes. I've tried a lot of different kinds. Now, I got too much water, I feel like, here where my cover is. And if you see it changed, it doesn't look puddly. Now I can go back over it and smooth it out so it looks like I never had too much. That's what I love about watercolors. Are so forgiving. If you've never watercolored, get you an inexpensive set and try it. It's so much fun. Okay, so we have another color that our little reindeer has around his, I'm trying to get some of the color off of here. It's getting all over the place. Okay. Now, I'm thinking we could go back through there with another color, but I'm thinking maybe like yellow or gold. Let's see which color I think will be the brightest. As you can see here, we've got several colors. Let me show you. I think we're going to do this gold right here. And, you know, I can't pronounce half of these watercolor colors because they're weird names. So I kind of just do my own thing. Okay? I don't try to say them unless I need to say them. And then I figure it out. Okay. So I just want to make sure this isn't changing colors on me because of a dirty paintbrush or anything. Okay. Let's see if the yellow's going to be bright or dirty looking. It's okay. So we'll stick with it. Very, very tiny line here. I did not do the background, and I will not do the background on this one, just so you know. You can, if you did, you would want to do it first. Okay, just so you know that. Okay, now we're going to change to a medium-sized brush. And we're going to go back and see what color brown we want Rudolph to be. Okay. I'm thinking right here. Burnt umber is what that one is. Okay. All right. I'm getting the paint really wet so that if I need to kind of dab some off, I can. Getting a clean towel, Kleenex, blah, blah, blah. I'll get it out in a minute. So I'm going to start down here with his little tail. Now, I don't want him to be super dark, so I'm not going to go crazy just loading him down with paint. Because I think he'll look better if he's kind of a lighter color. Looks like we got a little bit of pigment right there. Sorry, it's hard to concentrate and do this and talk. You know, because you got to hold your mouth just right. Or as we used to say to the kids, you got to hold your tongue just right. I promise I do not have my tongue hanging out. One of the things that always drives me crazy when I do this watercoloring is if you're working along and you're doing super good and you haven't screwed up or anything and everything's perfect and you get down to the very end and make a big boo-boo. That's when I go crazy. That's what makes me crazy. Most mistakes are easy to cover. And do his little legs. And basically with this, what you want to do when you use the embossing powder, you just want to stay in line. Now, if you decide you don't want to emboss and you just want to stamp, you can do the same thing. But remember, there's not a wall of embossing powder. That's what I call it, the wall. Or it's the wall of the pond is what I call it. It's kind of like a... Now see, I got out just a tiny bit right there. Looks like it's going to stay there. And it's not like it's very bad. This is a tiny little section. That's why it's a little tedious. Okay, now we got to do his head. I haven't got that head done yet. Something I didn't do, I recommend you do, is keep a bottle of water next to you here. So if you do make little mistakes, you can dip a clean brush into the water and clean up any mistakes. Trying to get my brush not to have so much on it. If you notice, his little eyes are white. See how they're popping out? That's the embossing powder. Now we're going to do his little tiny ears. The outside portion. And you'll look at this and you're going to go, oh my gosh, that's tiny. It's very tiny. It's like just almost a line. And as you can see, I kind of hit the embossing powder on that one. Okay. Now, we want to go back with a darker brown for the inside of his ears, for his antlers and his hoofs, okay? Which I really don't have a much darker brown. Let me look. I have my other little Winsor & Newton watercolors, which you don't want to start out with. They're expensive. Both of these are Winsor & Newton. Okay, so it looks like I have the same colors. So I might add a little bit of black and burnt umber together and see what happens. Okay, so if I had a clean spot, it'd make it even nicer, right? So I'm going to wipe out a little bit right here on my palette and try to get it to be darker. Right over here, I'm going to mix burnt umber. And you want to make sure you wipe this off when you're done here. Get it all off your brush. And then go over and dip into your making sure I got water in here. So we can go into the black. And the black shouldn't take as much as the brown. It's just going to darken it up a little bit. We'll see what happens now. Let's do his little hoofs first. I see it just made them a little darker. And not super, super over the top. Now, this isn't super dark, super amount of darkness. And so I want to go back in with some black and add it over the top. I think I'm going to do it black instead of brown. But it's still going to come out looking like a dark brown. There we go. See, that made a difference. Okay, now we're going to do inside his, let's do his antlers first. They're tiny too. These will be harder. I can tell by looking at them. They're going to look like little strings. I'm trying to see here. I'm sorry. Making sure everything is mercy. That's tiny. Now we could go back with that with a little bit of black and make it even darker, but I think I like that it's that dark brown. So let's do a little bit of black on our brush and do the inside of his ears. We'll do them darker. But remember, they're still very tiny. And sometimes if your embossing is kind of odd, it will cause your watercolor to be kind of an odd look. Now we have to do around his mouth. And we want to use like a really light watered down tan. Okay, so I'm going to find one. And I think we're actually going to go with raw umber and see what happens. Okay. As you can see, I really watered it down. It's like in a puddle. See here? Just kind of leave it for a second, and then it's going to dye the paper. And then you're going to dab it straight off. And we'll go in with a stronger. This brush likes to put out water, I can tell. I might have to use a different brush. Let's use a medium. There we go. Get some of this color off my brush. Okay, so here is that first coat. Now, what I want to do is Santa's little face. And then we'll go back and do the white. I'll have to get a clean brush for that. So we're going to take the pink, and I've got pink here on my palette. I'm just going to really water it down. The more water, the better. Okay, so let's see what we got here. His little face is super small. And it's puddling also. So what I say when that happens, and you want it to be light, that's a good thing. because now we can let that sit there for a minute, right? And go over it with a clean Kleenex, because we don't want it to be super dark. Now, let me grab a clean brush or see if I can get one of these clean. This one's leaking out the side. Well, it's because I unscrewed it. That's crazy. I wonder how that happened. Get a clean one here. Now, we're going to go straight in with white, okay? And got to really mix up some. I'm getting the white here. Now, everywhere I'm going right here, it is putting white paint down. And you may be thinking, what's the point of doing that? Well, you can actually tell the difference. Okay. We're going to heat set that, which I recommend you always do, okay? Heat set your color so it doesn't change. Okay, so there we go. We have our little characters, and I'm going to go back with some clear water and get just a couple of these places that I feel like I went out of the lines. There we go. There's none of them bad enough that I feel like we need to, like, you know, do something crazy. Okay, so now we want to use our pens. So I'm going to find a white pen, a black pen, a gold, silver, let's start with that. We'll see what happens. So I want to do, trying to think what color. I think I want to do with black. I want to do right in here on this yellow. Let me get this going before I start jumping in. And I'm just going to, and it may not even work for me. It doesn't want to paint on the, or draw on the paint very well. So I'm just going to go through here and put some little lines, like kind of like they're beads. If you were looking, it's like it's beads hanging off of the green. Or you could just say it's like stripes. But I'm calling mine beads because I'm kind of giving them a round, kind of an oval shape. You might have to go over them more than once. to get them to stand out. Yeah. Okay, now his eyes, I don't know if this pen will do his eyes justice. You may have to go in with a permanent tiny marker like this zig marker and just do straight down like dots on his eyes. His eyes are real tiny. When I raise up, you'll be able to see what I mean. See how tiny his little eyes are? And there's not much you can do about that. Okay. And I'm going to go up here and touch up areas inside the embossing that I didn't really like. Because this is so thin that my paintbrush couldn't do as good as this marker. And the marker's not doing perfect. Markers have problems with other mediums getting on the tip. Just so you know. But it did kind of help it a little bit. Okay, now Santa, he's pretty good, except for his scarf needs some excitement. So let's see if we can get this gold to do something on Santa's, like maybe put a stripe. See, it's not wanting to really do any kind of... Okay, so this one's not going to work on there. My goodness. Let's try... Let me see what else I've got. I've got a blue... Let me make sure it's writing. This is a blue gel pen. And see, he doesn't like that. Okay, let's see what other colors we might have over here. I have some, if I can find some that's not brushes. I have these Sigma, no, they're not, they're Micron brushes, or pens. Let's see if this works. Yes, I knew it probably would. Now, how long it works, I don't know, because even they don't like you know, for the pens to be on watercolor or any other medium. There we go. I bet our hour is up. Yeah, we're finished this one, then I'll turn the video off and we'll do a second video to finish the other two. Sorry, it's just one of those things, you know, it just takes a long time to do this sort of thing. And this is why, and I'm just telling you guys this because this is the truth, this is why I don't like to make cards as much as I used to, because cards take forever to make. Now, if you made cards every day, look at Santa's little eyes turned out cute. Now I'm happy with that. His little eyes did turn out sweet. Let's see what else we have. I'm looking for my red. Here's my red. The reason I'm bringing the red out is if you look right here, remember we got a little bit of something on our red. So I'm going to try to kind of just camouflage that. Just a little. Touch up anything that you think would look better if it had a little something else on it. It still is showing that, just so you know. It didn't really help. Boo-hoo. Okay, so we've got Rudolph's nose over here. Let's give it a little bit of shape. Now, Rudolph's got his scarf still needs some help. So, I'm thinking if I could get, I can't get the gold to cooperate. Let me see what other colors I have. Okay. I have a green in this same pen. Let's just see what that looks like. And we'll just do stripes with him. He is a classy reindeer. I would say he is very classy. All right, so we're not outlining this. This is like a no line watercolor. In other words, you know the lines there, you can see it with the white embossing, but if you took it far away, it looks like I painted it without any lines, right? And that is a fun way to do it. I'm going to see if I can get that to dot down a little bit. I looked at it and then I forget which part I was going to come in on. Oh, right here. So if you guys enjoyed this video and had fun doing this sort of thing, give me a thumbs up. And this is going to be number 11. And we'll add a number to it at the beginning of the next video. When let me see how far we are. Yeah, we're over an hour. So if you haven't subscribed, please do give me a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.